Illinois Green. Who's gotten an email from Ashley about the home tour lately? Yeah. See everybody? That's who it is. So you should reply to all those emails.
49 of them.
Perfect. Thank you. So Illinois Green Alliance is super excited to be hosting the home tour for the 7th time. With all of our partners. But we've been around for a long time. Welcome, Curtis. Your name was just on the screen a minute ago.
Thank you.
But I just wanted to say a little bit about Illinois Green. Our organization's been around since 2002 as the USGBC Chicago chapter, then USGBC Illinois chapter, and most recently the Illinois Green Alliance. So thank you for going on this journey with us for so long and continuing on. We are excited to educate people about green buildings in Chicago and Chicagoland. And one of the ways we're able to do that is through the GreenBuilt Home Tour, which if you haven't heard already, I'm sure you did because you're here tonight. It's August 3rd and 4th this year. And again, it's the 7th time. It was started by a group of volunteers that said, hey, Katie, we really want to plan this home tour. And I was like, that sounds hard and like a lot of work. But they were like, no, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. And all came together and pulled it off. And ever since then, I think Mark was one of those people. And ever since then, we've been able to grow it and add more people and have some folks that are in the room here tonight. I see you, Scott, and I see you, Tom, have been on it every single year. And Nate's been here all the years. So thank you so much for continuing on with us and continuing to have awesome green homes for us to showcase every year. I'm really excited. We have a lot of ways to get involved this year, and we have a new track this year too in our 7th year. So we're excited to bring some green renovated homes to the tour as well. So I'm going to introduce Ashley to talk a little bit more about homes this year, how you can help, and then we'll get into the presentations ASAP.
Yeah, hi guys, I'm Ashley. I'm a program associate at Illinois Green, and I just started about 3 months ago. So this will be my first home tour, but I'm really excited. I'm happy to be working with a lot of you guys. So here's a map that kind of shows all the homes that will be on the tour. The green homes are the certified green homes, so those ones are either homes that are certified or pursuing certifications. So those are the new construction homes or the major renovation homes. So we have 12 of those homes listed there and kind of scattered all across Chicagoland. Then in blue we have green renovation homes, so those ones will actually be on Saturday only, whereas the certified green homes you can see both Saturday and Sunday. So those will be all day Saturday from 10 to 4, and those homes more so just highlight green renovations. So one thing that we got a lot of feedback on from previous tours was people want to see what they can do in their own home. So we decided to create this new track that kind of demonstrates a lot of different things you guys can do in your own home. Whereas the other homes might be doing a bunch of amazing things, these ones take things that can be more so put into each home and not have to do major renovations. So it's really cool, and it kind of gets the best of both worlds, so you can kind of see both sides of it. And then we also have on the bottom 3 bonus stops, so Evanston Rebuilding Warehouse, Rebuilding Exchange, and Reuse Depot. So be sure to check those out on Saturday. Those are just bonus stops that they can, when you visit, they can talk with you and help with any questions and stuff like that. So yeah, those are all the homes, and if you see something in your area, definitely check it out. And then ways to get involved. So we're still looking for volunteers, and I know some people were asking questions about it. So volunteers, there are 2 volunteer shifts, either 9:30 to 1 or 12:30 to 4:15, and you can choose Saturday or Sunday, or both if you're crazy. And the responsibilities are basically just taking registration and greeting attendees and then managing the tour groups. And then some perks about volunteering is that you get a complimentary passport ticket, so you can go to any home and it's free and you don't have to pay anything. You get a t-shirt, like you can see there, and some people are wearing them today, so you can get one of those. And, yeah, if you want to look like all these guys, you can get some. And they'll be green and blue this year. So, and then last is you got a closer look at a home on the tour. So if you have a home that you're really excited about, you can get some more kind of intimate time there and get some more one-on-one time with the homeowners or builders or whoever's there. And then other ways to help besides volunteering is to like the Facebook page. That'd be really awesome if you could share it on Facebook, social media, and if you're going, mark that you're going. If you're interested, you can say you're interested, but like the page. And then if you see one in your community, you can, oh wow.
We're stuck here all night, folks.
Yeah. Okay, well, yeah, that's 5 minutes all open like that. So, but anyway, if you see one in your community, you could share it out with your community groups if you have any connections or anything. That'd be really helpful because we're doing as much outreach as we can, but sometimes when there's community connections, it makes it a bit easier and gets people more interested. So definitely if you see one in your area and you want to send stuff out, let me know and I'd love to give you more information, or you can just email whoever and tell them about it. And then lastly, we have a volunteer sign-up sheet over in the front if anyone wants to sign up, and I can contact you with more information. We also have some t-shirts if anybody wants a t-shirt, if anyone's a small or a 2X. Make sure to grab one. And then we have buttons from 2018, so if anybody wants any GreenBuilt Home Tour swag, definitely take some. So yeah. And then Mark will.
So with that, if you're not able to volunteer and you're registered for the tour, try and send this information along to other people you know that can volunteer. Right? Just because you are or aren't able to forward that out, because that's how this information gets around. We're going to go very fast through this. There are a number of homes for people that are not presenting tonight. They are self-explanatory and they are on the website, so we're not going to discuss them because we want you to go see them and leave more time for the people that are presenting. So Benjamin has his row home. I believe it's his 3rd time on the tour. Mia, 3rd time on the tour, I believe, and her projects are also great. Go there as well. Phil, he's done a number of lead projects, and at least 4 or 5 times on the tour. He was going to present, but something came up, so another good site, of course. John is not here tonight. I've been there. Definitely worth checking out. Dan, he's been on the tour, I believe, 3 times with their projects. Really cool homes. Ben, I know this is a cool house because I did it 4 years ago. Super smart fella. There's no insulation in this house. Zero insulation in this house. And his energy bills are like nothing. There is insulation, but I'll let you figure out where when you go on the tour. Marcus Taylor Fleur, if you haven't met this guy, go there, talk to him, or listen, rather. You won't have a chance to talk. He's been doing this house for 10 years. Amazing guy. Also pretty good. Ted's place in Barrington, haven't been there yet, plan on checking it out. That photo really looks appetizing. Lisa and Ron will be speaking, so save a spot for y'all. Kevin will be speaking as well, so let him talk about that beautiful, beautiful home. Neil is here tonight, and we got a chance to hear him speak 2 months ago, and today we get a lot more information, so looking forward to that. Brandon is not here today, and I'm giving his presentation as it arrived about 1:30 last night, so be nice to me.
I'll fill it if you need it.
Thank you.
I've never seen the house before.
Robert is here as well. I'm really looking forward to this one, and I'm going to go see this, so we'll hear more about it tonight. Scott is here. I think this is the first time you've ever presented or been on the tour, right?
Just once, yeah.
Scott's been doing this for a long time. You'll enjoy his presentation later. Larry's here. He's got a lot to tell us. I love this house, so you'll hear it from Larry firsthand later on. Tom has been on the tour at least one project every year, sometimes more, and I'll let him tell his story. James will be speaking tonight. We're really excited about that. This is, I'm told, like a work of art. It's never finished, so we'll hear more tonight. Nate is here, also been on the tour many, many times, and with this wonderful new track introduced of the one-day blue homes. He's back, so we'll get to hear from Nate tonight. And I'm not going to do it justice.
There's all our sponsors that are here. You can read on the screen. Say mostly for this evening, dirt, but also you see these amazing CNT, Passive House, box for that one, Illinois Green, and many others that have really helped make this possible, which when I sort of joined the Passive House board many years ago, there was a lot of conversations about how can we make an inroads. And I think, although this is an Illinois Green central event started by them, it's one of the most amazing things where it just anyone can go to it, learn about it. I've brought my in-laws to it, and really sparks a conversation that you can't have any other way. So, and it's not possible without the sponsors. So thank you to all our sponsors.
I was supposed to say that Mike from Mitsubishi, often known as Mitsubishi Mike, couldn't be here tonight, but to make sure that we knew that he was with us in heart. He gave up his spot for someone else.
Very generous.
Okay. So this is when you get the real juice coming on. Many years ago, for those of you involved with Chicago and green things in Chicago, there's a road called Sacramento. And on Sacramento, there's a destination. It fell under the umbrella of the Department of Environment. I know that's a weird term. There used to be one. And under the Department of Environment, there used to be groups like Chicago Green Homes Program. What's that? Chicago Center for Green Technology. So our first speaker tonight, I met there. Okay, that place was an epicenter in Chicago, and coincidentally, I met a lot of you there. Katie and I met there long before there was USGBC going on here. And so I'm really thrilled with this new track that we're able to bring in people that have been doing these lead projects and doing wonderful commercial and residential projects along the years. And I've seen this person present many times, and most of them was at the Chicago Center for Green Technology. Thankfully, the Center for Green Technology is now everywhere. It's propagated to events like this. So I'm going to walk away and introduce Lisa Elkins and let her take the show.
Thank you, Mark. And we have the Jenny connection. Our interior designer, Jenny, who used to run the programming at CCGT, so it still lives on. Okay, tell me when I start.
I think I'm on slide.
I'm going to start talking.
Just start talking.
So I speak a lot and I enjoy speaking, but this 20-second thing, we'll see how it goes. So I am Lisa Elkins, and 2 Point Perspective is the firm that my husband Ron and I run. We started it 13 years ago next week. So we've been at this a little while. We love what we do. We're passionate about sustainability. And that's why we knew that we had to start our own company, because we were really frustrated working for other people. When we worked in London and San Francisco, it was almost just a way of life there. And then moving into Chicago, it was a little bit more interesting to kind of push that forward. So we've done things at all ends of the scale. This is actually the Green Street Passive House that we worked on. We were really excited about it. The clients, everything was going well. The Passive House consultants said we were right on line, and then the client moved to California. So that was a little frustrating, but we are very big fans of Passive House. This was actually our first net zero, which was in Oak Park back in 2008, and we learned so much doing this project. It was really exciting. The one you see the kitchen for down there, that's actually a LEED certified home. It's just a couple doors down from our home. So again, we've done a lot of different certification programs. We're fans of many of them. And this is the current one that started construction just a couple of weeks ago, and we can't wait to see it done. Is this really 20 seconds? So, so we're very excited about this. The interior has some fun features. We're hoping this will be on the tour next year. And then the exterior is using some fun materials as well. But the real reason I'm here tonight is to talk about our home. And it ends right here, which is very confusing with row homes sometimes. We've lived here for 14 years, and we've used this as a laboratory for everything we read and learn about. We see what we can make work within our 1880s row home. Because you can learn things, but when you actually implement them, you understand so much more. And as we've been doing this, actually, this is several years ago. You can see my hair was a little shorter. We were on a TV program called Renovation Nation. And that guy was Norm's co-host on This Old House. And this was Steve Thomas. And so it was fun to see that he had gone into the green realm as well and with this show. So that was a lot of fun. And again, just as we were moving forward with everything, energy efficiency, of course, is always the big dog when it comes to making a home greener. So we have a photovoltaic array. It's a 4 kilowatt system. It is 14 panels, and it actually services all of the electricity that we use in the home. And you guys are smart enough to know that doesn't make it net zero. We actually have gas service. We have a gas furnace. So we are not a net zero home. Most people say, oh, we're net zero. But at least it covers all of our electrical use, which is really exciting. We utilized a CNT weather sealing initiative, and they actually came in and sealed out the whole house. Old homes are particularly leaky, especially the brick ones. And then between our ceilings and the second floor and the roof, they also filled it full of insulation. We had a 30% efficiency gain from that process. They blower door tested before and after. So that was well worthwhile. The low-hanging fruit is always ceiling fans and LEDs, right? The first LEDs we put in, we paid $120 for can lights. Those now cost $10. So I love to see that the prices have come down. And ceiling fans, of course, it feels about 7 degrees cooler when you have air flowing across your skin. The biggest project we've tackled is our kitchen update. So this, you'll see, we did a lot of green things. The biggest one, I think, was reusing all of the cabinetry that was there and then moving it around and then refacing it. So it has bamboo refacing and pretty big design element there that you'll see. We also use the recycled glass countertops. We use the blue jean insulation in the wall behind the kitchen. We use efficient appliances. Kind of everything that we were touching, we made it as green as we were able to. And again, because we did this a piece at a time and because we never gutted it, we weren't able to pursue any certification. But throughout the home, there are a lot of eco features, and we're proud of it. One of the things that we made sure that we did, we live in 1,600 square feet. There are 4 of us. We have like 3 closets, a couple more than that. But everywhere we could, this is an element that we designed storage into the element so that we didn't have to have a massive house with a whole full basement for storage, because we just were very clever in designing it in all over the place. I have a background in furniture design, so that helped a little bit with that piece of it. Our most recent update is our master bath update. So you'll see lots of white. Everyone's doing white bathrooms and kitchens these days. But we actually brought in a lot of wood as well. We wanted to kind of pull in match the wood of the original window treatments that you'll see there. And then, of course, efficient lighting, recycled content tile, all the standards that you'd expect. And then water efficiency measures. Everywhere we could, we wanted to save water. So dual flush toilets, that's a no-brainer. There's an amazing one these days that you can buy at Home Depot that's $100. So if you know anyone that doesn't have one, there's no excuse. They're great. The water faucets that have the standard location as when it's centered, and you get cold water instead of a mix of water, that's actually a great way to save energy. And talk to me more about that later because my slides are going too fast. So right here, there's a little tiny red button. That is our recirculating pump. So when we wake up in the morning, we hit that pump, the water recirculates, and then when we're ready, about 5 minutes later, because we have a really long distance apparently, we actually get hot water at the source. It's not a constantly running recirc, it's just an on-demand. So we do that twice a day, and we save a lot of water that way. 5 minutes worth, whatever that comes out to be. Also, H2O kinetic shower fixtures are really nice, especially with places that have low pressure. You feel like you're getting more water than you actually do out of the faucet because the drops are bigger. So that's a Delta and Brizo product that we've been really excited about. Sustainable flooring, of course, bamboo flooring is nothing new. We kind of like the one that looks more like wood. It's the strand version. But this is my daughter's room, and in case you don't know, children are really messy. So the carpet squares, which are usually a commercial product, we use in residential. We use it in the other daughter's room too. We've already had to change these out, and it means that you don't have to buy a whole new rug every time your kid does something stupid. So that's been really helpful. Air quality, low VOC paints. Katie and I were just talking, the day I was in labor, I was painting the stencils on this wall all day long because of low VOC paints. There's no harmful chemicals, so you can really breathe that anytime. You do have to take breaks every 20 minutes when you're in labor, but other than that, it's a great way to paint without all those harmful fumes. I mentioned furniture design earlier, so all the furniture in our house, I hope you'll come to see it. Everything is made, a lot of it is made from reclaimed wood. This particular table is spalted maple that came from Jackson Park after a big storm. So there's just a lot of fun things you can do with furniture as well. And from a lifestyle point of view, I'm sure a lot of us here do recycling. Having a station in your home, I think, is critical for getting all that right. And then composting as well. So we compost regularly. Like everybody here, we're doing what we can. We're Prius-driving crazy people that try to be green whenever we're able to. So I know that was really fast, but I hope you guys will come by if you're able to on August 3rd and visit us, or send people over if they want to just see a million little things they can do to make their home greener. So thank you very much.
So next we're going to hear from Kevin about whatever project he worked on. You can tell I'm really prepared. But so for those of you that don't know, we're just a Cha-Cha style event for the most part, except for Nate. Every year it's Nate. Always tries to be different. So it's 20 seconds a slide, 20 slides, which equates to 6 minutes, 40 seconds. So I think it's slightly shorter than Hey Jude, right? So it's kind of like in that ballpark where, it's a neat rhythm to try to keep in. Like my good friend Samuel Clemens once said, I didn't have time to write a short letter, so I wrote a long one. It's that sort of thing. It usually takes a lot of preparation to keep that rhythm of 20 seconds a slide, but you can always cheat and go over and just keep moving. So without further ado, let's take it away and hear the next presenter, because no one wants to hear me babble on since I figure out this mouse.
All right, I'm Kevin Schaefer, owner of Schaefer Construction and also Windy City Air Sealing, which is the first aero barrier dealer in Chicago. This is my house that I'm currently building for myself and my family. It's a 3,800 square foot house in the Grange Highlands, and it's meant to look as Victorian as possible to match some of the other houses in the area, but it's still a newer house, that's why we're calling it modern Victorian. It sits on a 3/4 acre lot. We like the lot because of all the mature trees. So my tree guy said, the guy that does the trees, he said that I bought the biggest tree in the area. There's a 150-year-old oak tree right in the back, and so we did our best. We've actually pushed the house forward to try to keep 20 feet on all sides of it, and so far the tree is still living and still healthy. We used a bunch of reclaimed foam that went into the house. There's all different types. There's polyiso, EPS, and XPS foam. All of it was reclaimed and purchased from a distributor in Indiana. This was the initial lot that I picked up initially to get started on the basement. So the details of the house, the foundation waterproofing, I used rubber wall. You can see the turquoise green. It's an elastomeric sealing product. I was able to just put the 4-inch EPS foam. It just got mounted directly into the rubber wall after it was sprayed and it was wet. And so no other mechanical fastening. The basement has 4 inches of the reclaimed EPS foam on the basement, or above the 12 inches of stone. It has a 10 mil Stego wrap, vapor barrier. There's radiant heat also in there. The seams were taped with Stego's vapor barrier tape, and then all the penetrations were sealed with their mastic. Unfortunately, the framing, it's 2x6 construction with all TJI joists. I would have liked to have done some more advanced framing techniques, but I wasn't able to get that into the architecture plans soon enough. The only other interesting thing, the way that the house is framed, I was able to tape the seams of the sheathing that actually is at the ceiling joist level. So the whole envelope is actually airtight all the way on the perimeter, and then it actually goes up over top of the attic joist. There's continuous insulation on the outside. It runs all the way up from the basement all the way up through the second floor. It's either 3 inches of polyiso or 2 inches of XPS. All the joints were taped and sealed. With that, we did a rain screen, so we have we've got 1x3 plywood that we cut into strips. We used a 6-inch truss screw to go through the foam back to the 2x6 frame, and then we used core vent product at the top and the bottom for continuous ventilation. The house was sealed. It started off pretty tight with the zip tape and some other measures, and then we used aero barrier to bring it down to, it was a 0.4. When the full certification showed up, it popped up to 0.5, which is still, we're happy with it. It was super tight, and that's at the frame as well. For anybody that's not familiar with it, it's only been out for about a year or two, but basically you pressurize the entire envelope with a blower door. You release a latex, it's GreenBuilt certified, latex sealant material gets atomized into the air. It goes and it seeks out all the crevices, anything that's smaller than a 1/2 inch, and the sealant will build on itself until it seals it. For the HVAC, it's not traditional. It's going to be rated, heated, and cooled. It's the first house in Illinois to use Masonic panels. You can see the panel. It's a 1/2 inch EPS foam that's routed. They routed out a channel for the PEX line, and there's aluminum plates in there as well. The unit has a 5-ton air-to-water heat pump for the primary source of hot water and chilled water, and then there's a combination boiler for the domestic hot water, and then it'll also act as a backup for when the temperature is too cold for the air-to-water heat pump. That's just an example of the panels, and then so with the house being so tight, this is Sonda's M-Sense. It's a humidity dew point sensor, and then it's also a VOC sensor. It senses the level of CO2, which it corresponds with the amount of VOCs in the building, and so that will actually trigger, you'll see on the next slide, there's an HRV unit, and then there's a vent on the garage that you saw on the last slide. Every time the garage door opens up, there's a little exhaust fan there that will run for a predetermined 30 seconds to 2 minutes to help flush out the garage, since there's a finished space above that. This is the HRV and the dehumidifier. The top part of that has the coil in there, so that actually, with the radiant cooling to help prevent the condensation, that's the whole house dehumidification process. I used Zender tubing. You can see the manifold boxes. There's 4 manifold boxes. The tubing gets run directly into the registers. There's a gasket there that keeps it all airtight. It's a double-walled system. Super easy to use, super easy to run. Love working with it. Highly recommend it. For the windows, I used Ogna windows. They're triple pane, argon-filled, vinyl-framed regular window. We're trying to keep, we considered using the tilt and turn European windows, but we wanted to keep it looking more Victorian, and so these windows were great. I was really happy with them. We were able to still keep the unique exterior features. I used Provita doors. They were at about a point, most of them have a triple pane glass as well, and they're a 0.2 door as well. We were happy with those doors. To install all the doors, I had to do a 2x4 window buck around the exterior of the frame. You can see another picture. The insulation we used, since the house is already tight, we didn't use any spray foam on the inside, and so the walls are actually just regular mat insulation. So R21 mats with the foam on the outside. The walls, depending on which walls, they're approximately R31 to R39. The attic is not insulated yet, but it's going to be blown-in cellulose in the attic. The siding we used was just regular hardy siding. You can see it with the rain screen there. For anybody wondering, it's deep ocean blue and Arctic white, and we used LP trim for all of the trim for the house. And I think that's about it. Self-explanatory.
better. My favorite subcontractors, there's already Anthony and Anne Marie. You know, when Dad's building their house, they used to sit in all the pool equipment, and they really have a good time over there. That's about all.
While the presentations are going on, or before you leave, please make sure you do note in the sign-in sheet in that corridor that you attended tonight, because we keep track of that. 2030 committed. There'll be more on that later tonight. Neil's going to present, and everyone please welcome Neil.
Thank you. My name is Neil Peck. Along with my daughter, Marcia, we run and own our company. This is a project designed by Tony Olive with Fire Associates. It's the middle house there with the red trim on it. It's about a 1910 house, Victorian, and we have we're under construction right now. This thing's going in and out. So that's where it's going to end up. So we're going from the 18th, 19th kind of Victorian look to the 21st century. We just finished framing. Well, we haven't finished the basement. And here's what the back looked like right before we started construction. We did a deconstruction process, and this is the way it's projected to look. We did a deconstruction process of all of the entire house, of siding, joists, etc. These are the plans. It ends up to being about a 3,200 or 3,400 square foot house with a basement. Roof plan shows you the solar panel distribution. There's going to be a 10 kW system, solar system with this house. This was some of the considerations in the design. You needed thermal comfort, you needed air quality. Main concern of the client was durability. He didn't want to do anything to his house for the next 30 to 50 years. We told him that wasn't quite possible, but here's some of the features that we started that I listed. I've got deconstruction, a 10K solar PV system, Mitsubishi mini split heating and cooling, Equinox survey, ERV mechanical ventilation system, all-pop windows and doors, which are triple glazed with a U value of 0.14. Here's a section showing the air tightness. The walls, because of the city of Chicago, we had to leave the old framed walls in place and also the old masonry walls. So we built an extra wall on the inside, and then we're putting 3 inches of rock wool insulation on the exterior, and then we're having 2 inches of close-cell foam on the inside, and then 9 inches of cellulose. So we'll end up with about an R50 wall, and the ceiling will be around an R70, so the roof, I mean. Here's some of the systems. One of the nice things about this system is the amount of ventilation, and also handles humidity, which is, I have a passive home down in Kankakee County, and I have an ERV system, but it doesn't handle the humidification. And then here are the Mitsubishi mini split systems that we'll be using. And I think we've got 6, if I remember correctly. Right, Tony? Yeah, handling the house. So when you come out on the 3rd and 4th, you're going to see a house under construction. They're showing a radiant heat system, but this is actually electric heat system. We put electric heating, radiant heat basement floor. And then we're going to have a hybrid electric hot water heater for all our domestic hot water needs. Here's a elevation of the rear under construction and where it will hopefully end up with. And we actually poured concrete basement floor today, and we just started installing windows. They were delivered Monday, and we started installing them today. So here's some interior views of the house. This is on the left, how it's framed right now with the temporary stairs, and that's an elevation of how it's going to end up when it's finished. And now you're going to see a bunch of slides of the framing, and that's and also I want to show you, I think here we're putting the waterproofing membrane over 6 inches of rigid IPS impregnated impregnated insulation that will be under the floor. And there's one of my guys installing the membrane under the waterproofing membrane and air membrane underneath the floor. You can see the old framing we're remodeling. This is not a new house. So this is the 1908, 1910 1x8 sheathing it was balloon framed. This is a balloon framed house, and then we have the new framing on the inside of it. So and then you can see that some of the challenges in the framing. You can see where the old house was up and down, and we've had to add walls, and then this is the roof with trusses and so forth. So so that's it, and we hope to see you on August 3rd and 4th. Thank you.
I think we're going to skip over one of the presentations as the presenter is not here, and in the interest of time. So, who do we have up next, Mark? We got Robert up next. Come on down.
All right. Hello, Robert Williams, Points Properties. Here to talk about 1533 West Superior. We were lucky enough to win this local best award this past year, so I think we get to brag about that for about a year and a half. Quality construction, smart design is kind of our logo. The why is important to me. For me, I like what? All right. I like building a better mousetrap. Seemingly in my DNA, to the far left is a great grandfather with some inventions. Father, grandfather of a shipyard, and then there's me in my first house. And I'm getting a degree in naval architecture, marine engineering, which I think I still pull from each one kind of equally to this day, for the design and then being a door, basically. This is a pretty interesting slide, just showing how green building is healthy building. So all sorts of text here, but it also feels good to know I actually eventually make people's quality of life better. There she is, the building. That's my pushback against all the fancy names of beauty on the park, whatever else you're supposed to call it. It was featured on House Hunters, which was an interesting experience. Believe it or not, they're not completely honest on there. They were supposed to be like looking at my house like they're going to buy it, and they already have it under contract. And they kicked me out of my own project. That's me saying goodbye on the right there. They didn't explicitly kick me out, but they had like a black belt and strong hints. So I had to leave.
How do you really feel?
Great show. You should watch it. Here's the quality construction aspect before we get into smart design. So I just want to touch on a few things. I tried to be specific to the condo project, so I don't bore things that I know. So moisture management, air quality, soundproofing, divided into the bullets you see. So moisture management starts with the foundation. This is just the stuff we did for capillary breaks. Picture on the left is the model. Picture on the right is just some dry block on top of the footing. It is there, believe it or not. It's a little lighter than concrete. In the next slide, we'll see the wrap we did around the foundation walls. So I say beyond waterproofing because, you know, if and when the foundation cracks, which it probably will, this relieves the hydrostatic pressure on the walls, and so even if there's a hole in there, it's not going to create a big problem for the foundation. It's like the Titanic had a waterproof hull, but it's had a couple holes in it. So similar analogy. For the walls, we use a couple products to make sure the air got out. I'm sorry, the water got out, the air can get in. So mortar net and wheat thin. This picture on the right is myself and the mason in a YouTube video I made, laughing about something that escapes me. But you can see my hand there is the wheat thin. On the left is a product called Dry Block next to a regular cinder block. So if you ever use Dry Block, it's just regular cinder block, but I spray paint DB. I would make sure I wasn't getting ripped off, so I went down to Home Depot, bought a regular cinder block, poured water on them both, and sure enough, it was a solid product. Water off the duct's back, and then on the right was the ring block we put in the mortar. So for air quality, obviously, you know, try to get a really tight seal. Bottom picture is the closed cell behind the framing we did all the way around the inside. Top right is the Aqua building, which is a great example of how not to handle thermal bridging. It's a big radiator. Air quality, cleaning. So obviously we seal tight, and then the bottom right, innovation point for this is a new thermostat from Glass, Johnson Controls. It monitors air quality. When it drops below a certain level, it kicks on the ERV system and the furnace filter. It's hard to see there, but we had like 9 parts per billion VOCs, which is pretty cool. Soundproofing, bottom right is the model, and then the top right are a couple pictures of us implementing that. We looked at a lot of different configurations and went with what we thought was a good compromise of cost and soundproofing. And here's kind of the soundproofing basics. We got a little bit of everything. A couple things about smart design that we did, and of course this is how people feel in our homes right there. But one is the flex room, and the other one is just a note on a compromise I made, just from a developer's perspective, as far as what I wanted to do in order to sell the homes. The flex room is basically an in-law unit, but it's kind of a unit within a unit, and so you can see in that view into the living room, you can put a large pocket door there, and then this room becomes like a little hotel suite. So it's got its own separate entrance. And yeah, it's got a full bath, a little kitchenette, and a fridge in there. So here's the floor plan on flex room's bottom left, and you can see that sliding door there would be the large pocket door. So if you wanted to, you could rent it out, have your grandmother live there, stuff your in-laws in there if you don't like them, don't let them in, things like that. I'm saying it's green because obviously the more efficient you make the space, the greener it is. So, and then this is really just a shot of the windows. I think I would have had to reduce, if I remember correctly, the window size by like 60 square foot. I decided not to do so because that's a huge selling point for a lot of these projects of mine. Seems like it was a good idea. One of the first things everyone says when they walk in is how much they love the windows. So, this is my response to the get rich quick stuff. This is how I spent my last birthday. That was about 8 p.m. and that was my dinner. I found some candy in the closet. This is like trying to hit a deadline. I was working 16-hour days, and happy birthday to me. A little bit dramatic here, quoting Thanos about what it cost me to build this. The view, I just like this picture, but I'll say it's green because it's close to the city, so low commuting time, less gas. That works.
You're also getting Green Star certification?
I'm also getting Green Star certification. Just wanted to include that on my own.
And third party?
And third party tested. By EcoCheer, it's an unbelievable company. One of the best out there.
It's a plug for the third-party people out there. Third-party certifications. Without them, we wouldn't have awesome projects. So EcoCheers. We love third-party certifications, so let's hear it for EcoAchievers. Speaking of things that we love to hear about, it's Scott Sanders again, talking about his next project, and I love your presentations. Knock them dead.
All right. Hi, I'm Scott, as Mark said, from Brightleaf. We are a home builder out in the western suburbs. We also do a few other things, which I'm going to talk about in my slides. I think I have to auto-advance the first one, and then we'll start. This is part of the team at Brightleaf. There are 17 of us there now. We started off as a home building company in 2014, doing one house, and then it was 2 houses, and then it was 3 houses. And last year it was 13 houses, and now it's 22 houses this year, and hopefully beyond that it's going to be a lot more. In addition to homes, we also do some other things that we found to be value-added kind of service offerings. The rest of the team that is there supports things on the real estate side. We have our own captive real estate brokerage. We do renovations for homes. We do interior design in-house. We do some architecture in-house and then farm it out to the experts to actually make it pretty and make it work out. And we basically try and be a one-stop shop for housing solutions for someone looking for a new home. These are some of the homes that we built in the past. Some of the homes that have been on the tour. Previously, most of our homes are single-family homes, actually, that are infill locations in existing suburbs, LaGrange, Western Springs, Forest Park, Downers Grove, kind of out west there along the BNSF Metro line. We've done an apartment building, actually, not super green, because we came in later as a developer partner, but the other multifamily projects that we have coming down the pipeline will absolutely be at least ENERGY STAR certified. So that's a little bit about Brightleaf. What I'm actually doing on the tour this year. This is 68 South 7th Avenue. This was a picture of it earlier this week. We will not be done by the tour, in case you did not tell. It will be a house that's under construction in framing. We will be just before drywall, so we're going to have it insulated, all the mechanicals in, and having everybody walk through. Detail of some of the foundation installation. Obviously, high-performance building or green building starts with the foundation. So we've got dibbled mat membrane, as Robert was talking about, around our foundation. Some tapered insulation to do foundation flashing. You can see some of the insulation for the under slab area going on there as well. Some of the other standard details for all of the homes that we build, GreenBuilt Home Tour or not, are staggered stud wall assemblies. That went really fast. That's not 20 seconds. Advanced flooring, dense packed cellulose, and now it stopped. Dense packed cellulose insulation in the walls, and advanced air sealing, not quite to air barrier level, but caulking, sealing, and proper use of our exterior weather barrier, whether or not that's tieback or zip wall. In the GreenBuilt Home Tour house this year on 7th Avenue, we will have the same thing. So dense packed cellulose, this is basically what the home will look like when we go through. Some of the other key details for us that are very simple but effective: raised steel energy trusses on the top, right-sized headers, 2 stud corners, sealed boxes, are all energy efficient things. But we do more than just build energy efficient homes, we build high performance homes. And so our high performance homes have a lot of other stuff going on, including natural lighting, tall ceilings, engineered lumber, better use of materials, more comfortable spaces, things like that that don't just contribute to energy efficiency, but contribute to durability or longevity. So that's why we say that we build pretty good houses. We certainly don't build passive houses, but we build pretty good homes, certified to the DOE Zero Energy Ready standard, ENERGY STAR, Indoor Plus, all of these third-party certifications by Joe. Thank you, Joe, over there from Insight. We are 100% committed builders to all of these programs, so every home that we build is like that. Every home that we build is not like this. This is throwing a bunch of sticks in the mud in front of a house and kind of figuring out how they go together.
That's my question.
This house is almost done. I have no idea why that lumber is there, but this is what's kind of wrong with the housing industry. And this is what we're trying to change in the experience that we provide clients and the back end that we do in planning for a home. We're getting into BIM, Building Information Modeling. This is SketchUp. This is actually a 2D screenshot of a 3D model of the house that is going to be on the tour. This is illustrating floor joist layout, so we actually know where toilet flanges are going to be, and we actually order the right amount of lumber, so we don't have a pile of sticks laying out in the front yard. We're substituting that with Revit and more versions of CAD later on. This slide talks about how we are in the market. We are certainly not building passive homes. We're not Integra, we're not Blockable, which are tech finance, home building startup companies that are doing components and modules. We're kind of building right in that red spot where that gap is, where we are appealing to early adopters right in front of the early majority, but not quite going crazy and not quite building houses of the past. Trying to build the homes of the future here. Part of that is the experience that we deliver to clients all along the way. So it's not just the house that we build that's high performance. We're trying to redefine how that house is built in pre-construction and planning. So One of the ways that we kind of convey it to clients is just calling it the easy build process, where our experience for everything from the sale and initial sale up through the build and into warranty service is part of our brand experience. It's part of the marketing message that we're putting out up front. We're not just looking for a client who wants the cheapest house per square foot. We're looking for a client who wants to trust something, to understand what they're going to get from the very beginning. So you walk into a McDonald's, you walk into an IKEA, you get in a Southwest Plane, you have an expectation, you have an experience that you believe that you are going to get all along the way. And that's what we're trying to bring to home building in the Chicago market, in the Midwest, whatever it might be, or in real estate in general, from realty to remodeling to buying and selling new homes. Experience. 86% of customers are willing to pay more for it. How many builders actually deliver any sort of experience that is beyond, here's the house, cool, good luck? There are a lot of them in this room who do, which is what I love, and why I love being a part of this group. But for the majority of the other 136,000 general contractors in the United States, it sucks for the most part. We try and make our buyers feel good. We try and make our buyers have an awesome experience. I think it was Maya Angelou, I'm going to butcher the quote. People don't remember what you tell them, they don't remember what you promise them, they won't remember what you do, but they remember how you made them feel. And so that's what we try and do at Brightleaf. We are trying to make people feel awesome. Part of that is related to just what they want. When Tesla first came out, people just wanted a Tesla. Had no idea how it worked, they didn't know what it was about, they were just like, that's really cool, I want that. That's what we want people to get to for the point of high performance homes, to passive homes, to be able to actually understand what passive means, what high performance means, what zero energy ready means. All of these other things is great, but they really just have to want a high performance home from the beginning. So we're trying to get out there, put that branding and marketing message to help elevate all of the high performance building professionals in the area. And if you have any questions, if you want to join, if you want to be a development partner, if you want to be an investor, if you want more info, ta-da.
Fun fact, speaking of Teslas, Henry Ford's wife drove an electric car, and it was not a Ford. Electric cars are not new. So it's kind of a blast from the past and a look ahead to the future. Totally unrelated to that, Casa del Sol La Vita. We'll be hearing from Larry talk about that and the amazing project that he put together that you can go see on the tour. So let's get it started. Larry, coming up.
Hi, everybody. I'm Larry Ponziano. So, Casa del Sol La Vita, House of the Rising Sun, passive heating and cooling, net zero energy, very low toxic build, foam-free, all steel house, 85% recycled. The only foam is under the concrete, and that was more a financial decision than anything. So, the house is in Indiana, kind of in the boondocks on a 10-acre parcel. Came in at $162 a square foot. Foundation, stem wall, below grade, has 4 inches of outboard insulation with a cementuous non-bitumen waterproofing. It's a purged on concrete product. It's a polymer. Drain tiles into a gravity system to daylight. So moisture management was very important to me. So in the next slide, you're going to see what we did was I filled that entire slab area up with 3/4 clean stone and put a second moisture mitigation system for also radon. So any water that comes through hydrostatic pressure or just from capillary action into that entire area is going to be captured, and then it is covered in the next slide. Gosh, I'm not used to talking this slow. So we have 8 inches of, this is the foam that I talked about, insulation given us about an R40 under the slab with radiant hydronic tubing every 18 inches, so there's 1,500 linear feet of tubing in the house. My load is extremely low, about 18,500 BTUs at 10 below zero, and I got proof of it this year. So then I covered that with 15 mil Stego wrap. All the seams were overlapped, all penetrations were taped real well, and it is working actually perfectly as expected. So there's now 4 inches of concrete on top of that, and we could begin to build the structure. The structure is a twin wall, metal structure, 2x6, 16 gauge bearing wall on the outside, a 6-inch gap, and then a 2x4 non-bearing 20 gauge, which is a service cavity. So the whole assembly, once insulated, it has a very unique low permeability on the inside and high permeability on the outside, because hot goes to cold, wet goes to dry. It forces through hydrothermal dynamics all the moisture to the outside. And this IntelliFabric is actually a smart membrane, which has a perm rating of 0.13 before humidity reaches 70%, and then it will actually reverse, and it'll dry to the inside during the air conditioning season. And a lot of tape and sealing were done to ensure that that maintained its integrity, and that whole cavity is filled with dense packed fiberglass insulation with no chemicals at all. Roof barrier scrim instead of wood. It is a very heavy fabric that you could literally walk on. It's airtight, liquid tight, but vapor open, and it allows that moisture again from condensation protection to leave through to the outside. So the walls and the roof are about the same. The roof is a 24 gauge standing seam roof. Most roofs are 26 or 28 or 29. But because I have no wood, I'm relying on this as a structural roof. It's about a 100-year roof. It's a sequential installation to facilitate the concealed clips and fasteners, so there's no screws in the entire assembly and that are exposed. So we built this ourselves. This is a roof truss, 32 inches of insulation, 110-mile wind load, superior snow load design, about 30% higher than required, and it's clear span, so I could do the interior partitions wherever I wanted. The house is unique. It is ADA compliant, aging in place, 2,200 square feet. The roof solar panels, there's 54 solar panels on the garage, and the garage and the house are built the same. They're 85 feet apart from each other. There's no penetrations. These use set screws to set on the standing seams, and therefore, again, integrity is there. We shouldn't have any leaks. I haven't so far. So, moving forward, the vapor barrier was very simple. It has a drainage plane on it, built in. Everything is taped and sealed. Used European windows, tilt and turn, triple glazed, and I have about 225 square foot of French doors on the south side, so we get a lot of solar gain, 3-foot overhangs on the rear. I wasn't smart enough to do two pictures. At any rate, the Zener Q600 ERV with a geothermal preheat. It's an advanced ERV system, self-balancing. It is not a luxury in this house, it's a necessity. I'm pretty tight. Internet monitoring and control. This Comfofon geothermal preheat and pre-cool provided almost all of my preheating. I had no electric preheating this winter. Uses the earth as a heat sink. There's only 12 gallons of glycol that run in a 300-foot long trench, 8 feet in the ground. There's no refrigeration involved. Just a simple 11 to 41 watt pump, circulating glycol, taking the earth's heat and putting it into that preheat, pre-cool, and it works phenomenal. I'm more than surprised I was kind of a test. So there's a hydronic and domestic hot water system that it works off of it's a company called Chiltrix. It's a water-to-air heat pump, reversible, and it has a COP on a great day of 6.9 and a lousy day 2.7. So for every dollar I put in, I get $6.9 up. The ERV air distribution is ultra quiet and 3.5-inch tubing that fits inside all of the framing members. Today when I left, it was 91 degrees outside. It was 70 inside, and I was drawing 3.3 amps. A typical house, 2,200 square foot, would be drawing 25 amps. So it's really tremendous. Traditional interior doesn't look real odd. I have marble floors from Turkey, non-VOC finishes. The only wood in the entire house is a Carb 2 certified cabinetry with non-VOC paint. The wallboard is a gypsum product, but it has fiberglass on each side, so it's waterproof. There's no mold potential. There's formaldehyde-free in the construction, and the only other wood are the doors. 13.5 kilowatt solar system with an anode production so far of 16 megawatts. I have a net metering arrangement until 2032, dollar for dollar. They've given me a potential for a feed-in tariff program, which is pretty interesting, and I could explain it if anybody wants to talk about it. But right now I'm at net zero. Right now, as of today, I have $480 in credit. The system went online here, and I use some energy in the winter. Now I have a hot tub running 24/7 outside, and I had a Tesla plugged in February, so I don't have the Tesla any longer. But I'm going to be net zero for the year. There is no gas in the house. I don't have a water bill. I don't have a sewer bill, so it's energy free. So that's my backyard, or my side yard actually. So no water bill, no sewer bill, no electric bill, no gas bill. So.
If the house wasn't exciting enough, you could also hear more about Zender too, right? Okay? All right, here we go. Tom, you've had how many homes on this tour?
7.
7 homes on this tour, and counting, okay?
Yeah.
So, welcome, take it away.
Thanks. All right. No, I can't use the microphone. I need my hands. My name's Tom Bassetilli. You're probably wondering why I'm wearing 6 t-shirts. That will become clear in a minute. So this is our house that's on the tour. It's a passive house, our about 6th or 7th certified project. It's FIAS Plus 2018, which is the current FIAS passive house program. It's also therefore DOE Zero Energy Ready. And it's also meeting our Architecture 2030 targets, which I'll talk about in a second. This is 86% EUI, which is energy use intensity reduction. So yeah, we've been on, I founded my firm in 2006. I'm an architect and a CPHC, which is Certified Passive House Consultant. Founded the firm because I really wanted to dive deeply into what does sustainability mean. And energy efficiency is one of the top things. So I've been involved with the Passive House Alliance. I've got a staff of 6, including a new CPHC. He just got his certification a couple weeks ago. So we're an Architecture 2030 signatory firm, which means that we're committed to getting the building sector to carbon neutrality by 2030. It's a huge push. Talk to Nate about that, or he'll talk about it. Our projects have qualified for the Illinois Clean Energy Community Foundation grants, like the, well, there they go. So we've been on 7th year in a row, so we've got a t-shirt every year. So we're going to start peeling them off. 20 seconds wasn't hard enough, so I had to make it harder for myself. So these projects, that was the first certified passive house in the Chicago region, Brandon's house, the second certified passive house, pre-certified passive. So this was last year's modular prefab. So we did a retrofit project in the city that was on. And this house just got a big solar array, so it's also source net zero. So it's a pretty exciting project that's passive and getting a FIAS's source zero certification. See, that was 2 20-second slides. Pro tips. Okay, that's a deep dive. That deserves it. Oh my God, I lost 2. Okay, so anyway, the site was a challenging site in Lake Bluff because it faces south, and there's a daylight plane restriction. This is the buildable area. And so we couldn't face the house to the south like we normally do and get a lot of solar gain. And the backyard, where we want to spend a lot of time, is to the north. So we're going to have a lot of glazing on the north. And we said to ourselves, is this going to work for passive? You know, how much solar do we really need? And the answer is you can make it work. You have to kick up some of your R values to meet the requirements. So here are the floor plans. This is the first floor with the garage in front with the side-facing door. Kind of created a hidden entryway here. Very compressed space here. And this beautiful open space. This is the one-story aging in place, first floor bedroom suite. One story, we get east light coming in above that over the stairs. So the west side of the roof faces is where we could get solar. It's not ideal. You want to face that to the south if you can, but west works pretty well. We can't quite make site net zero here, even with a certified passive house, but we're getting pretty close with that. It does have a basement for mechanical storage, tornado safety, all those Midwestern things. Boy, it's kind of pixelated, but that's our section. So we got a conventional concrete foundation. There's been a lot of great examples, people showing all the stego wraps and all that stuff. So that's what's going on here. And we've got not outrageous R values, 21 in the slab, 35 for the foundation walls, R42 for the regular walls, 88 for the roof. So they're, like most of what we do, a third to 2 times, or how do I say it, almost double what code would require, but that gets us to really low energy consumption. So hey, that deserves a shirt also. So, all right, this was 2013. Okay, so that was our first one. So that's a vintage. All right, so how do we get there? It's energy modeling. This is what's so key, and what I really like to let people understand is that in architecture, we don't just design something for looks and then hand it off to somebody to calculate. We do this model, we put it in our Woofy passive, and this is what we do in-house. And so we can tweak the dials. We can look at what our thermal bridges are telling us, what the efficiency of our heat pumps are doing, what the site shading is like, and what the impact is on our energy balance as we make our design decisions. So we can tweak it and get right to the sweet spot where we're making the best investment in insulation and efficiency. So the energy modeling is a key part of our process, and it's really exciting to geek out on that and then pop back into aesthetics. You know, I mean, it's like this, it's the blend, it's art and science. So mechanicals, we got ducted Mitsubishi, we got the Sandin hot water heater, so that's an outdoor heat pump. We don't have the problem of the heat pump inside sucking heat out of the house. We're distributing all of our heat. We've done ductless mini splits before, and they just don't work for getting all the rooms comfortable. So we're ducting everywhere, and Mitsubishi has a lot of good options for that now. We've got a Renew Air ERV separately ducted, so great fresh air. I tell you, all these passive houses we've done, the air quality is so good. And the other thing we do for air quality is make sure that every caulk, sealant, adhesive, paint, stain, drywall, everything needs to meet at least a GreenBuilt certification, which you can get at Home Depot now. So there's no excuse. There's no excuse. Suppliers and subways in it. Here's some interior ideas. We want to always look at low flow fixtures. We always want to look at LED lighting because the entire picture is critical. Passive house is only really looking at energy. It's not looking at water, but we know that water use is equally important. So we take care of that. We went through so many design studies. I was going through the old images and looking at all the stuff we showed the clients. We will be in drywall by the time of the tour, roughly. So you'll be getting a sense of the interior, but not the finishes yet. We get some construction photos here in a second. And I'm going to get down to my true colors, okay? I just want to tell you, these are going in the right direction. Okay, so this was June 10th. You can see we're using zip sheathing for the wall. That's our air barrier. We got these deep bucks here to come out to the face of where we're going to do the over insulation with the foam. The stego wrap you can see underneath there where we have the basement column coming up. That's the north side, looking up to the yard. This is last week. And so we're getting our beautiful shading, these little fins, and this is what it's all about. It's about bright green. So, thank you everybody. This is an awesome group, and I wish I could go and see all the homes, but I'll be there all day Saturday and Sunday.
Signals, I think would be appropriate.
That was a great time. Thanks as always. Up next we have James, Jimmy. If you follow everyone on Meetup, Blade Runner might be another pseudonym for him. So hopefully we'll find that presentation he can get going soon enough. So take it away, James.
James Lamb. I call myself Little Fork Engineering. I do a variety of things. Mechanical engineer. I'm also a geologist. Monarch butterfly, it has a very interesting life cycle. It's 78% decline since the 90s. I'm very concerned about that. And what I decided to do is to redo my front lawn, get rid of the whole front lawn. This is a 1929 Tudor, 3 brick stick, gutted the whole inside, insulated it, so the walls are now 21 inches thick, probably a art value of average of a house about 25. Okay, to make a pervious driveway and the rain garden, I collect these cobblestones. They weigh about 20 to 30 pounds a piece. This Prius does great mileage and it hauls a lot of stuff. And it's still running. My next car will be all electric, and I'm going to run this one to the ground. The first thing is to get the equipment, because I'm going to do the driveway. And I'm going to put a cobblestone driveway in, besides the rain garden. So you got to get good equipment. This equipment, what it does, it can break up the concrete and also scoop out the cement driveway. And what we did was we tore out the driveway. You go down 24 inches. I wanted to act like a tank. So I'm going to put CA7 stone on the bottom, and then on top of that, I'm going to put a layer of a thinner stone, CA17, and then the cobblestones. But you can see here how deep you go in, and then you can see the rain garden. Okay, there, every 4 inches, you have to compact that stone. I'm amazed at the stone today because it has not even shifted, and it's like a big tank. In the back, we did the patio and the stairs too. And I do it right. I put a full foundation around that because it's not going to move. I don't go for anything else. There, I'm putting the last stone in. The driveway is 1,720 square feet, 5,280 stones. And it was quite a project. You can see the background with the rain garden. The stones are irregular. I kind of put them as a barrier. Now, it took me 10 years to collect these stones and a summer to put this driveway in. There's something wrong with this thing. I mean, I did all this work. Anybody have any comments about that? It's one little thing, though. That's my crew. A lot of my friends thought I actually did the driveway. 6 guys, it took 16 days to do this driveway project. And it just came out absolutely stunning. It's in the Sauganash area, be on the tour. You can see the front parkway there. We eliminated the parkway. Now we're going to work. Each stone is handled 4 times. That's what I calculated. And these guys worked very hard. And we tore up the whole driveway. And we also put in a foundation in front of the garage too, because to make it even too. So there's a lot of work. Here, this is the front parkway. You use it's a membrane, and what that does is prevent the soil from going up into the stone, so you don't get any settlement in that. So these guys were excellent. They did such a great job. This here is the stones, a little enhanced a little bit. I had them put stones in certain places around here. This is a whole geology field trip. You could spend a day talking about these stones and where they all come from. Anyway, you can see the sumac trees. Here's the garden at its peak. It kind of depends on season, how it comes and goes. And I don't have landscapers. Everybody around has landscapers. The noise is almost deafening. And the little grass I have, it's mainly a little push mower. That's it. All the water is retained. It's a mecca for wildlife. I call this George the rabbit. He's actually very friendly, and he hangs out in the yard. And he's like, appreciates I provided a home. All kinds of natures all around. The butterflies, the dragonflies and everything. They just come to this house. You can actually entertain yourself by just sitting on the patio. Here's the canopy driveway, and these are all those stones. I kind of wanted the dark ones that match like this. The sumac trees, the house has got great solar potential because it's got a good southern face. And also the windows are triple pane. I've cut the heat loss of this house from maybe 100,000 BTU per hour down to 50,000. Oh, I like to talk about stones, but I only got 20 seconds. This is Baraboo quartzite. It is harder than steel. And it's actually from Baraboo, Wisconsin. It's 150 to 200 years old. I found out of 15,000 stones, I found 5 stones like this. So I tend to have a little collection. Here's the sumac trees. They shade the house in the summer. They also provide shade for the patio, and all kinds of birds come there and just to sit on that patio. Eventually, the roof needs to be replaced, also the copper gutters, and I'm going to go with a photovoltaic system in the future. This is the front parkway. We have May apples, Jack in the Pulpit, bloodroot, a blazing star. So I have woodland plants, even trillium, woodland trillium in there. It's actually entertaining for the neighbors. The kids love it, so it's an alternative. And all the leaves that fall on this property is composted on the property. In the fall, the house is on fire. You can be a block away and you go, what is the hell's going on with that house? So I get mostly positive comments, but there's some people that, you know, every blade of grass has to be perfect, and it's an alternative. That's a copper canopy I put up there, and I have a strip of LEDs light, and depending on, you know, the temperature and all that, I can change the color of that. I intend to do that with the dormer and that, and it'll be on the tour. So you're more than welcome to come by, and I can even give you a geology field trip. I do design and install driveways too. Well, only the cobblestones.
That house is beautiful, James, and I gotta say, you are the right owner for that house. It's right. That's beautiful. We made it through the evening, and we have one more presentation.
If he can't get his computer to work, interpretive dance is also one of Nate's specialties.
Yeah, and that's not by me, that's by y'all. So, so on the very first GreenBuilt Home Tour, we had an array of sponsors and media sponsors. And we had a huge shortage of volunteers. And so many of us volunteered house after house after house to make sure all of the guests were very welcomed. And unconditionally, I woke up on a Saturday or Sunday morning, yeah, it was the day after the first day. And I went to the first house that was missing volunteers, and I showed up early, not on purpose, just because I'm logistically challenged and need to get there early. So I got there early, and sitting there 2 hours early in an occupied house with a husband and wife and their kids, trying to get together their home from the array of all the many guests the night before. I meet the owner, and I meet the architect, and we sit down on the couch, and we talk for an hour and a half. I got a few words in, so I guess that qualifies as we talked, but the architect spoke a lot. And the owner tried to always over talk him because he was so excited about his house, and he was so excited about the experiences they've had building the house, the experiences they had living in the house, and the experiences they have showing the house. They've never been back on the tour since. The owner follows me on LinkedIn like a wonderful stalker. We've never spoken since. I know what the guy does. I respect what he does. And I'm quite sure today he's very happy in his healthy green home, right? And that's why we're here today, because we all have passions. We all have missions. And typically that aligns with the ability to create healthy green homes. If it's not for ourselves, it's certainly for our clients. It's certainly for our clients' clients and our clients' clients' clients, right? We have a lot of suppliers and whatnot here tonight. So sitting in that room, watching the architect get interrupted by the over-energetic homeowner was a ride. It was a roller coaster. And the architect was this guy right here, Nate Kitness. And please don't look at Nate or Lindsay because they're doing completely different things that have nothing to do with tonight. It was fabulous. And that tour went off very well. The Chicago Tribune had a huge article about it. I was cleaning out our office the other day, and I actually came across 12 copies of the Chicago Tribune extensive spread, and I threw them away, or recycled them, if you will. But I took pictures of them first to reflect on it, and it was exciting. You want to keep talking, or we good? So it was an exciting time to have that first tour, and lo and behold, we've had all these years since then. And I couldn't be happier, and I couldn't be more excited to be involved on a regular basis with the people that were a part of the first tour and continue to be a part of every tour thereafter. That is some time. Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, the next presenter, his name is Nate Kitness. He's standing next to me, and we're working out. Apparently, Bill Gates and these Apple people haven't completely figured things out, but they're getting there. They need our help.
Did someone accidentally borrow the clicker for the computer?
Well, yeah, the clicker that was here.
Yeah. Did it get tangled up in your shirts?
Yeah, I definitely had one in my shirt.
Oh, goodness me. Everyone check themselves. Yeah, we did totally have this wonderful little clicker.
Not this, but something that will advance the slides.
Just a little thing. Yeah, it's just like that. If you want, Tom could put a bunch of shirts on and take them off. Let's have a round of applause for Tom. I think it was fantastic, and I think this applause backs that up.
It was pretty awkward, but you know, it was fun. It was fun.
Thankfully, you have a day job.
Yeah,
Right?
not sure.
So, as I was saying, we're blessed tonight to have a good friend who is the national co-chair of AIA 2030. If you don't have one of those buttons, you can become an architect and you can get your firm to subscribe.
Don't
to
have to be an
AIA
architect, you can be
2030.
a contractor.
Please do. What's that?
You can be a contractor.
Really?
Yes.
No one's ever told me that. I'm a contractor. I'll figure it out. And then he's also serving as the National AIA Sustainability Leadership Group, which is great that we have that representation coming from Chicago. We're pretty good at what we do. And most recently, this happened at the last event, right? For those of you who weren't there, Nate received the Emerald Award from Illinois Green and the USGBC. And I don't remember what it was for, but I remember it was an awesome meeting. So, Nate Kitness.
So I've been on the tour every year as well with Tom and maybe one other person, and I didn't have a house this year. And so then I got a call, oh, we're going to do rehab houses. I'm like, okay, now I get the streak going still. So this is a house that we did in 2009 and 10. And this has more to do with resilient design than sustainability. It's a sustainable home. It's the homes on this tour this year are not, that are rehabs, are not necessarily third-party rated. So this is not. But this is what the house looked like. This is the front and the back. This was a 1950s house that the architect lived in. And in September of 2008, the worst 24-hour rain happened. And this is in a floodplain, and all the drain things went the wrong way, and someone forgot to throw a switch. This house got destroyed. The addition on the right was done by Dan Wheeler at some point after 1950, and it is at the right height for the flood, and it survived. This is what the house footprint looked like. This is a one-story house, and then this is what we ended up doing. So they wanted it to not look anything at all like what it was there. So it does not. It like freaked her out. I went through the house with them when I first met them. I go, of course your insurance is going to cover this. No, the whole house was a total write-off loss. So we used the existing foundation. This is what it looked like. So just totally destroyed. There was a basement. This was completely underwater, 100% underwater, and the water went up higher than that. So this is what the house currently looks like. So it looks like nothing at all. We used the existing foundation. You saw how crazy that foundation was. We had to try and figure out some straight lines to utilize. We took the old foundation and blew holes in it so that the water would drain through it. We filled it with gravel, the old basement. And this is what it looks like now. That pool was existing. And so this is the last time we used solar thermal panels. So we have 9 panels on here. They provide the heat for the pool, and then in the winter it provides the heat for the flooring. Because this is a raised foundation now, the water flows through underneath the building. There's a sump pump in there, and there's a fan on a humidistat to blow to try and keep it somewhat dry in there. And yeah, kind of crazy. But, and again, it looks nothing like it did before. So this was the foundation before. Yeah, wow. You think they didn't have drugs in the 50s? Yeah. And then this is where we sort of straightened it out. This is the existing part where Dan Wheeler did that upper section. So the idea of the house is it's kind of a raceway. The circulation path goes around. These doors are hidden when they're open, so you get really good flow through there. And then upstairs, the bedrooms primarily are up there. And then, whoa, right. How do I fire that back up? Whoops. Yep. So this is just showing some details of what we had to do for this flow-through crawl space. And those are the vents that are throughout. This isn't exactly, this is just the marketing brochure, but those are the vents that allow the water to just go flying right through it. I'm not going to go through all this, but we have some green features and natural ventilation, natural daylighting. The radiant floor just on the first floor because we couldn't put ductwork underneath it. We went to the 100-year floodplain and went up about a foot. I don't believe in that stupid number. It never seems to. You always see it on the news as being wrong. And then this is the interior. These doors are hidden in the walls. They're on those Harmon hinges. You just press it in and they'll shut. That's the window over the front door. This is on opposite that. There's natural ventilation on those remotes for those windows up there. That's the highest point of the interior. So Mark let me freestyle tonight, and I'm taking full advantage of it. So thank you. So right now, I saw this the other day about climate change is freaking people out. And there's a lot of people that absolutely don't want to believe it, So we finally hired a social media consultant, and we made a big deal about how in the presidential debates, they're talking about climate change. This was political suicide not even 4 years ago. And now they're asking the candidates, what's the most pressing thing? 3 of them said climate change. So we posted that, and of course, we got this right away. The climate changes every single second of every single day of the life of a planet, you dunderhead. Mr. Dunderhead, to me, please. And I came back and explained it, and she said, it won't affect us. We can't control it. We're nothing. How can it be? I mean, it's amazing to actually see this. And my social media people told me, don't ever go down this rabbit hole. And I'm like, you know what? I had a really good day. I think I just won that Emerald Award. I'm like, I'm going to go, what the hell? I'm going to go for this. And I'm starting to explain it. I whip out my great graph, Hey, there's the Industrial Revolution, No, Nathan Kipnis, no, it is not. The data is wrong. Everyone knows it. Wow. And, be good to the planet. Don't worship. We are but a small pin drop. Humble. And I'm like, no, there's 1 billion combustion engines. Each gallon produces 20, pounds of CO2. Being humble doesn't make this go away. I'm not yelling at her. I'm not saying funny things to her. I'm just responding like a robot. And then, I'm not going to read all this, but basically I said to her, look, don't even believe it. Just be more comfortable. Save money. Be more efficient. It's better business decision. And there's the hat that I posted on it. I believe possibly maybe the same concentration camp. Not sure about that, but that's what I was told. And so then, we preach to the choir too much. Everyone we talk to gets this. We need to go guerrilla and go to the NRA things and go to the NASCAR things. And look at that guy down there. Yes! That's you. And I love this. Most car companies are putting their cars in front of wind turbines. This is in front of a freaking coal plant. Yeah! Oh my God, these people. It makes me want to cry sometimes. I need hugs from everyone. All right, so now I want to just talk, and again, thank you, Mark, for letting me do this. So, like Mark said, I'm on a couple national committees. It's really kind of, I'm just a little 5-person firm, and it's really kind of a wild thing that I go to DC and I get to do this stuff. At the AIA National Convention, they voted on the AIA's resolution on climate change, and it passed by a gigantic margin. This is 93% to 7. I don't know who these 7% that don't get it. As an industry or as a profession, architecture is really solid on this. But that 93 to 7 thing we've seen over the years, it's a pretty funny number that 7% still exists. But the idea here is that the AIA has committed to stating that there's an urgent climate imperative for carbon reduction, and we need to transform the day-to-day operations of architects and get the messaging out. And the big thing is, when you talk about an order of magnitude shift, the AIA currently spends 6% of their budget on climate and sustainability. They are going to move that to 60%, 10 times what they're currently spending. And it's wild. So I was one of 53 people to put my John Hancock on this thing. And so Rand Ekman was the other Chicago representative on that. How do you say no to that? It's perfectly logical. I also want to point out that AIA just came out with an update. They've changed the name, so the Architect's Guide to Building Performance. It used to be the Guide to Energy Modeling. Please check that out, free download. And then I just want to talk about the 2030 commitment real quickly. So as Tom said, we want to be at 70% better than baseline now, and every 5 years be 10% better. Tom was one of only 7 or 8 firms to have his entire portfolio at 70% or better. Unbelievable. And I want to point out that this is in this climate. Like those architects in San Diego, what are they doing? Come on, it's not that hard there. This is unbelievably challenging and amazing that Tom did that. We have a couple projects that do that, but not an entire portfolio. So the 2030 commitment, there's a couple parts you sign on. There's a sustainability action plan, and that's just stating like, hey, this year we want to do 4 green roofs, or we want to do a LEED platinum home, or we want to get our air changes to 0.5 or something. You endeavor to meet the targets, and within the first year you report on the design data exchange, and then you review that sustainable action plan every 3 years. And so just real quick, there's all these myths about this. It takes too much time. No, it's only inputting the EUI and a few other things. Very simple to do. It requires too many resources. That's not true. And we provide free mentorship. The 14 of us on the committee personally respond to all these things. I don't know why we do this, but we do. I have poor performing projects in my portfolio. Welcome to the club. We all, other than him, we all tend to have that. I'll have to achieve the 2030 target. That is not the key thing. The key thing is signing on and making progress every year and understanding why. And then the project must be complete. No, you can track it throughout the year and multiple years. This is the inputs. We're actually right in the middle of changing this over to a much simplified version. In the simplified version, that's a scatter plot, which unfortunately we're going to take out for a little while. But this is what it's going to look like. It's going to be very graphically, very user-friendly. And so this is where we're currently at. We've got a long way to go. I kind of think that when people sign on, when we get a bunch of new people, it actually drags the average down, but that's perfectly okay. We know that. And this is the number of firms that have signed up. So this is out of 93,000 firms, but I'm going to tell you something. This is all the giant firms, and almost every one of the giant firms, and a heck of a lot of firms that are like 200 and over, and then it tapers off. So we got to get more and more small firms involved. And then I want to show you this. So this is the EUI of a bunch of different types of buildings. This is the target. What is the only building type hitting the target? Single-family residential. It's because two things. One is there's a lot of good data on single-family, but also I think existing get up there. That's it.